behind those walls. But yeah, it looks like there's just a lot of like area denial from this Spike and Lu composition at the moment, which is all well and good if you can cycle those supers. And Lu sometimes struggles to build them quickly enough because they're generally outmatched by any other mid to long range brawler like Pierce.
Yeah. Okay, but final pick is in here. And I don't know if Olimpo Squad have kept themselves safe enough against something super aggro. You look at the bans. Got rid of Charlie. Okay, so what's your method for defense going to be? Now, that Charlie ban does open up Pierce for them, so that's pretty useful, but the mid has already been selected by Eternal. So this would be like when a Mortis would come in. Like, Mortis would be fantastic into Ems. It would be great into the Pierce. So Chester, also goal banned. Like, what is their method? Okay, Stu can keep the distance, but it's not really a total counter. Like, Stu doesn't prevent your teammates from getting killed by Mortis.
Okay, so it is challenging to deal with both the Pierce and a Stu at the same time because they generate threat at very different proximities, right? Stu is going to run at you, whereas if Pierce, as we know, Pierce is one of the most powerful brawlers in the game if you're consistently hitting those shots. This is also a circle. Oh, that's true. Yeah, let's do this so many. Actually, it's crazy. The Venn diagrams are going to be off the chart in this game. But again, like both teams are drafted compositions that want to punish that, attempt to stay in the zone, which of course is the objective of Hot Zone. And Larry and Laurie, it feels like it's been quite some time since we've sort of seen them in the mix here. But it is pretty nice sometimes to try and last pick a thrower if your opponents don't have a thrower that naturally outranges you, like the Juju sometimes we see on this map. So reasonable here, and also, Laurie, pretty good at running down a sharpshooter or even soaking a lot of shots from Stu, for example.
For that region, or excuse me, for that reason only, would I say Larry works here over Ziggy. I feel like Ziggy's just so good right now. Like, must pick on so many maps. This is one of them, but yes, if you want to put that up in the face of Stu or deny the ammunition to Pierce, then yeah, pretty solid. Let's see how Eternal navigates this. One of the central issues about playing Lu is you can't wall peek. You can't flip your shots around the walls like Meliodas is able to, but he'll get way too over-aggressive on the left side as Meliodas went for the pinch. Golden gets the kill. On the right side, Jubileo's taken up a bunch of room, and it seems like he doesn't really mind the lack of wall. That was a high priority for Brabal to take down one of the strongest areas for Laurie, and he'll just rotate over to the left side to accommodate.
I mean, it was nice. Jubileo dodged every shot from Meliodas. Here's the circles. There are a lot of them now. Of course, that loose super will mean certain death for Meliodas if he were to step into it, and Brabal is extremely outranged. Motep has also built another super, so that's more area denial. So Eternal can cycle these now to try and snowball this game in their favor.
I feel like so much of this pressure is coming from Larry also. Look, Brabal doesn't have a super, he can't break through, he can't really dodge any shots. It's going to be a kill for Jubileo, but now he's forced back. Brabal was looking for the pinch and Golden. Could have taken him down at mid. It's going to be the combo play. Kawe playing a super aggressive super, but even that doesn't matter. At this point, they can afford to go for solo kills because Olimpo Squad is just letting them. They're filtering in one by one, and this is not the team play that they need to get it all back. But with slow and steady play, especially Meliodas picking up a bunch of kills, they will get position on mid finally.
I mean, that was the first time we've really been able to see Meliodas make an impact in this round on this Pierce. Some nice shots chained together there, but now you're called upon to be the designated capturer of the zone. And as soon as Jubileo gets forward with a bit of that aggression and a hypercharge pop, Meliodas simply disappears. They're now forced to play into the back of the map. We've got to respect the incidental poke damage that comes in from the spike, and Golden is actually just having to basically give up his life in order to make space. Meliodas can't capitalize because there was a loose super in play.
Eternal are in a great position to win. In spite of Olimpo Squad's position on mid, they had that Lu hypercharge that will win at least one push for them. They don't have the super to match it just yet. One more shot would really do it. On the right side, Jubileo is just biding his time, waiting for Brabal to close in range. Won't be off.
Okay.
With all the wall break, now it's really difficult for Larry to do his job. Olimpo Squad can hang out on their side. Kawe has the hypercharge now, but he's only going to be respawning in time for a single push for Eternal.
Olimpo Squad are now ahead. Meliodas has an open map, enough for him to get a bunch of free damage here. Brabal does fall, but Golden can cycle in, has a super at the ready. Just a little bit more needed for Olimpo Squad, but Eternal come forward with a Lu hypercharge, and Golden is simply able to walk away from that super and have a hypercharge empowered by buffies when needed. But Eternal snuck back in the lead now, 91% and counting. But Jubileo simply ceases to exist. Nice shots coming in from Meliodas here now at 89 and counting. Olimpo Squad are catching up. Meliodas, though, needs to stand inside this super. There's no other option. Golden, though, playing off to the side. Olimpo Squad's patience pays dividends. Finally breaking the map, setting the Piers up for success and taking the round.
Went for a little skating sesh there in the last part on the ice rink. Didn't mind slipping around because as long as you're inside of the circle, that wins you the game.
Your hair's fine, mate. Don't worry.
Just get on the objective. It's all that matters. So what went wrong for Eternal? I'm scratching my head at the moment. I think really Olimpo Squad, they are running a more late game composition here. There are a bunch of ways you can break walls in Brawl Stars. Stu is one of the methods. He's a slower way to do it because you can only do it with the gadget. That's a long timer, even though his super, you get it pretty quickly. He's being denied value really hard by Eternal. Unfortunately, though, it means that Larry's not getting in an aggressive position, and as a result, it's been difficult for Eternal as a whole to move forward. But individual lane victories might be the vector by which they enter mid. Kawe has that super, and he has position.
Yeah, I mean, Kawe has to respect Meliodas' damage, so hasn't spent as much time on the point, but Golden is losing out to Motep right now pretty heavily. That's an interesting super, though, there from Kawe, just trying to split up the mid and side lane as Meliodas actually gets taken down. So Eternal off to a much better start this time.
They are, though they did finally give the Stu the super. Something that stood out to me was Jubileo was playing just on the edge of the range for so long, and then he stepped in, gave Rabao his super. Now, Rabao's going to have to be cautious about where he uses this because Jubileo is now keeping so much range that it's not even guaranteed that Rabao would get it back. Rabao gets the chain. Finally, Olimpo Squad can get some momentum, but they're down 50% at this point, so it's going to be a rough ride.
They need to get Golden forward somehow. They are trapped in a very challenging lane matchup, but I don't think they'd rather be going up against the Larry and Laurie. That's just kind of the way things are right now for the M's. Upcharge super here from the Spike. Well, covers up enough the point here to force Olimpo Squad back. Kawe, no, ceases to exist. Flattened there by the Meliodas super. Now Olimpo Squad starting to mount a comeback. But a bit of an ignoble end suffered there by Brabauer on that left-hand side. Meliodas is caught inside that super. I don't see them coming back in this one if Eternal can solidify this hole too much more.
And I think they can, as long as they get Jubileo in the correct lane. Brabao is that threat of dashing forward. Jubileo just needs a little bit more supercharge. Looks like Meliodas would actually be an easier target. Yeah, just gonna go for it. Has the super. Make it double. Now, double trouble now. Advancing towards Brabao. Just, wow, I'm surprised he survived that long. He was not able to stop this one. This momentum from Eternal as they put this one away, bringing us to an equal scoreline in set 2.
Yeah, looking a little bit sus. The M's positioning there on that map, it's just a pretty challenging matchup to win. You're constantly being poked down by the Spike, and you don't really have a way to navigate those walls. You can't curve your shots or anything like that. Obviously, you only fire that cone. So I don't know, though, if you're any more confident trying to take on the Larry and Laurie. But Golden is starting on the right side of the map this time around. I just think whichever matchup M is forced into, it's tough for her. She needs space. She needs a lane matchup elsewhere to be won, so she can come in a pinch. But unfortunately, Meliodas straight up loses to a Larry in mid.
Yeah, Jubileo moved over to the left side. It was a effort by two players at the same time, Mim and Kawe both. On the right side, we'll see Golden being forced back pretty well. That clone is going absolutely nowhere. Larry could use a mind of, Laurie could use a mind of his own on occasion. On the left side, you see Brabauer has also gotten that super. He can break open the wall. And yeah, he'll just go for it on this left side. Knows that he's going to be getting it back, so he'll be able to play around Spike on the left side, get that next super, deny positioning, the aggressive positioning for Larry. Note also how low the percentage is so far at this point in the game. Just no one's had reliable control.
I think Golden's positioning is really important. Now look how far up the map the Ems has been able to get. It's pretty threatening. Meliodas can capitalize here and step up onto the point. Motep, though, no matter who is fighting the Spike, they're having a tough time. Brabao is lucky to be alive, less than 100 health, and they have to give up the map entirely to try and heal. Kawe does pop that gadget, but it might not save him now, as, yep, the Pierce gadget came, super rather, came on in. Meliodas is having some uninterrupted time on the point. Golden's going to have to fight their way back into the map, but this is a nice lead for Olimpo Squad to work with.
No, it's looking much better for them. Look at the wall break also. Left side, pretty open. Tiny little obstacle for Meliodas to hide behind. And it should be their key to victory. You see that lose super, but no one's really there to play off of it. That's fine. Usually it's just to save yourself from getting pushed onto that, or off of the point. Eternal still are lacking that control. Maybe the Spike Hypercharge will change things over to the right side just to zone things out. Combine that with the Larry Hypercharge that, I don't know if it really added too much. Doesn't even get the kill on Golden until now. That final parting shot will help them get the advantage. Brabao, however, is dodging these shots really, really effectively. Make it one. Who Ooh, he can even go for 2. Not going to get too over-aggressive. That's Meliodas' job to annihilate him with the super. Olimpo Squad now just have to hold on for one more push from
Last
Eternal.
chance for Eternal. Ready, I think whichever way you slice it, they've got to go now. Brabao, healthy enough here on the point. Life flight's going to be clear before it can give any healing, but Golden is very low. Brabao, nice dodge there past that super. 93% would have to be enough for Olimpo, you'd think. But Meliodas doesn't have a viable way back into the map right now. They really need the stew to get some time on the point. Cower solidifies his position on the right side with that super now, and Eternal are starting to catch up. It's 93 plays 83.
Eternal still counting up, looking to overtake Olimpo Squad in terms of percentage. The Lu hypercharge now. Golden wants to be able to use his super, but there's just no way for him to do so. Brabao can't even get in. It's a set heading over to Eternal, equalizing things in what we knew was going to be a close series.
Yeah, we definitely didn't feel like this was going to be a one-sided game, but we had fears at the start of open business that this one could be over almost as quickly as it had begun. But eventually, this composition with the spike on the side lane, the Lu locking it down in mid, prevailed for Eternal, and they managed to even up the series.
Really promising from both sides. Definitely not going to be one-sided, this one. Draft also looking pretty interesting. I think less questionable than some of the other quarterfinals that we saw, especially, you know, towards the start of the day. I want to know
about it.
Yeah, and okay, something that I want to know is why Spike here. It actually did work in game number 1 for Eternal. They looked pretty good, but it was mostly down to Olimpo Squad getting hit by those Spike shots. Just didn't have the dodges on point. It's a big reason why you don't see Spike as much in comp. Like, yes, in the first batch of Buffy, Spike is going to get play. However, now that we have 6 more, he's not as popular because at the pro level, you should be able to dodge a curve.
Yeah. I do think that it's probably matchup dependent. Obviously, I don't think Spike was picked into a certain brawler, but it ends up looking better because it's an EMS that it's fighting into. The EMS was the first pick, right? So I guess that is telegraphed to some degree, but it was pretty hard for Golden to find success in that matchup, and so they were constantly trying to lane swap out of that EMS, out of the Spike into the Lori, which, as you can see from Jubileo's score, wasn't any more of a positive matchup. Credit to Meliodas. I think it was tough to have staying power in mid as Pierce, and obviously, you know, having to full reload all your shots can slow you down a little bit, but the taps were pretty solid in the end. It's just not quite enough to get you over the line.
If you just look at the stats, honestly, I would say Olimpo Squad won that one. But in the end, it's not the objective of the game. You also have to stay in the middle for as long as possible. I really like...
Have more circles than your opponent.
This is very true.
Yes, have a lot of circles. It's a thing. It's a thing. You need circles. So Lu should actually be picked up here. Terra, every brawler with a circle. Anyway, I really like that Pierce finally comes through. We haven't really seen him too often today. He was a heavy favorite in the EMEA region and could also come out here on Layer Cake. Let's see, so far in this South American region, Pearl was the most picked brawler.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I can see why in some circumstances, but Pearl is not like a brawler that succeeds on its own. It usually needs some assistance. It's going to be greater than the sum of its parts once you pair it up with something like Byron. So will it be present on Layer Cake? The Byron is open. I also noticed that, I guess, yeah, Glow is banned. Okay. Jean makes sense. You wouldn't want to allow that to go to the team that has Kaze on their side. That's a really powerful defensive brawler. Kaze's going to be snagging that blue star. So can you make it to mid before her? I don't really think so. So it's going to come down to getting offense and getting towards the enemy.
And Kaze has a big circle.
True, it's massive. Ziggy has a lot of circles though. Then that
Every
super
attack.
is a moving circle, which I think is very powerful. Obviously, the go-to thrower on this map with a 79% win rate right now on Layer Cake, someone you should be looking out for. Then you got options, right? You've got your thrower here. Do you want a dive-based brawler? You know, Crow's banned out. That's not really an option. We've seen Ali even used on this map. She's also been banned out. So you see that, you know, despite Eternal's attempts to remove all those dive-based brawlers from the game, they're still going to have to reckon with the Kaze here. And Bell, I think, is a pretty reasonable follow-up. Nest Egg on Bounty is just incredibly good, because once you get that map control, you now have a brawler that can allow you to snowball even further into the leads.
They already have something to pick up the blue star on the left-hand side. Kaze comes in very early on, tries to pick up blue, and then after that you lean back, try to get your supers while it's not feeding your opponents. Because both Ziggy and Jean have such impressive supers. Jean is basically a free kill if they do manage to hit it.
Yeah.
The tick comes in next here for the left-hand side, and that's kind of what I was waiting for, something to counter out that Jean. You can just spare that tick head, save it for the moment when Jean finally has pull. On the right-hand side now, I would like to see some very aggressive as well. They already have the thrower, they have something with range to spray. It's a mirror matchup almost. If now on the right hand side we also do see something like a Kenji and Ellie, as you mentioned before.
Where are the
Kenji is exactly what I was thinking. I just think it has the sustain to deal with these brawlers. Yeah, thank you very much.
Job,
you can't
Brady.
see it, but Sunny and I just shook hands because, yeah, just the comp is pretty telling. I think she should generally be able to, you know, survive Akaze, get up close and personal with the Bell and the Tick that are weak there, dash out of the way of the Tick mines and play aggressive, enable these Eternal players to move forward. They really need to. What's going to happen here is Olimpo Squad are going to get that blue star, and they're basically going to immediately fall back. Like, they'll try and play for control, but the main weakness of control is aggression, which is what Kenji's bringing.
And now the question is, which one is the better thrower, which one is the better assassin, and which one is the better team? Who can take the lead?
Okay, well, there's the blue star picked up straight away by Meliodas, as was foretold. Kaze gets that lead here for Olimpo Squad. Jubileo tucks into the corner here, nice and early. And much of this tick attention needs to be over on the right-hand side of the map to keep Ziggy quiet, who could be a real problem, especially for these sharpshooters in mid. Jubileo with that star power active, still can't really afford to fight Meliodas, and does have to use a Hosomaki healing gadget to stay in the fray.
Motep now with vision impaired on the right side, has to get out of that radius. Jubileo on the left side also taking heavy hits from both Meliodas and Brabal. Olimpo Squad are looking pretty stalwart on this defense, I'm not going to lie. Eternal have made isolated attempts to move in. Motep by himself, Jubileo by himself. So where's the team playing? Well, it's looking pretty ripe for Motep to make an impact. Got the close range kill versus Meliodas. That's impressive. Jubileo also on the left side created pressure. He got marked up. It's okay. Now Eternal get to play defense. So where's the Jean Super? We still need to see one to provide the proper defensive pressure. Also, Eternal getting yet another kill onto Brabal. This is exactly what they wanted. They, I think, have way better defense than Olimpo Squad.
Okay, there's the Fist of the Brawl Star from Meliodas Squad. Used to try and close the gap, but Kawa has the damage to stave them off. And with that gambit failing here for Olimpo Squad, they've now fallen behind by 1 star. Yes, they got the blue star, but they got to respect the magic hand now. And I think there's a Ziggy Super brewing as well.
Gotta be. He has one right now. It's left to simmer for a moment longer. A hypercharge makes this thing especially deadly. Once you use that super, you should be able to slow down enemies. Brabal is going to be the weakest against that. Meliodas can dash away, but get a bit more survivability. Here comes a hypercharge super out for Meliodas. Impact to the right side as Golden pops in his super, cycles it as well after a kill. Olimpo Squad now running for the hills, 10 seconds to go, and Eternal in hot pursuit. We'll see Jean equipped with the super, but a couple of nest eggs are waiting for him. Brabal emerges from the bushes, just no vision on where he is. Jubileo also battered and bounced around on the right lane. Excellent retreat from Olimpo's Squad. Just burn each village as you retreat.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure that you leave a mark. I'm going to say the nest eggs are very powerful there. Again, you can give the map up at the end of the round, but guarantee that you can still turn that into consecutive kills. We never saw the Jean hand. There was never a good opportunity for that magic hand to be deployed. That's a tough pill to swallow for Eternal. And again, they will have to fight back into the game on virtue of Kaze taking the blue star early.
Same lane layouts also. Need to point that out that Golden and Motep will be 1v1ing on the right side. Motep comes in with all this confidence, and he also knows, yeah, Meliodas Brabal on the left side. That's one of the biggest reasons Jean is here, but he's slowed down. Wow, but Jubileo, now knowing that his opponents are low on ammo, goes in, still shoved away by all the firepower they had in reserve.
Let's get you to bed, Grandpa. You are 1v3 in the enemy side of the map. Forget about it. Meliodas here with in-ranged form, throwing out a bit of damage, also flashing a potential super engagement. Kawa takes a hit in order to come forward at all. Definitely feels like Olimpo Squad have the lead now, and a super thrown down to control this left side of the map. That's why Kawa has to move over to the right. Bit of a pinch here. Oh, Jubileo gets marked up and then blown up by the tickhead by all appearances. Olimpo Squad have themselves a 9-star lead with a minute left to play.
Kind of big brain, though. I feel like it was worth it for Kenji to just go in on the tick head, just to also get rid of his mark. He knew he was going to die at some point anyway. Now, ooh, pretty serious super there from Jubileo. On his way to cycling his hypercharge, it's going to be the method by which they hope to get in the end. That was a pretty aggressive prediction from Jean on the right side. Jubileo trying to get away from this tick super. Looks like he's going to succeed and rotate over towards Kawa BR to defend him. Now moving towards the bottom, it's kind of a cat and mouse game. Kawa BR still goes down to those mines from Golden. Jubileo also bounced around. Deadly aim from Brabal keeps them 12 stars in the lead.
Now, this is South America for you folks. You cannot predict this region, so don't even try. You're best off throwing your darts at the board and going with whatever you see there.
Yep.
Here goes Meliodas, another lamp blowout. They're going to deny him. Caught by the magic hand. In comes the dash, though. Maybe the bell actually was caught inside that super. Two players snarled up, and now Olimpo Squad's lead is starting to get pretty thin. Meliodas, though, dives deep, and alongside Golden, they're able to find 2 more kills. That will seal the deal. Even the invulnerability frames of Slashini won't be enough to keep Jubilee alive. And Olimpo Squad end the round and set via total of kills. They get to 22 and rack up their second set.
Outdraft? Outplay? No, I think it was more of outdraft. You saw the attempts. You saw Ziggy trying to push in versus a tick, and when he managed to get past that minefield, it was 3 hungry brawlers waiting to take advantage of his positioning in close range. You also see MG all the way on the left side, just like, where was the team play? Really is the biggest question for me. A lot of times you would play around Gene, use the healing. It was so disjointed, it felt like I saw 3 individual lane matchups rather than a team.
Olimpo Squad make the right choice. They see 3 aggressive tanks with gap close abilities, 3 dive-style brawlers banned out, and they take the Kaze straight away. You forced Eternal to round out the composition with the Kenji, who right now is not the premium option for the gap-closing assassin-type brawler. So you've already won in that part of the draft. Then you fill your comp out with, Tick, who's going to be great against Ziggy, will outrange him in most cases and has last hurrah to stop those dives. And you've got the Bell, who's got amazing control with those nest eggs. You're in a great spot.
Yeah, in the end, we have a thrower and an assassin on both of those sides. Pair it with a Gene or a Bell. Bellcom comes out on top because the Gene also didn't hit too many pulls, honestly. I have to be the bad cop in this one.
He hit a nice one. With that last hypercharge pull, he got 2 people. And one of them was the Bell.
2? Oh, yeah,
as well. So, that was pretty nice. Still not enough because they were like...
For me, the Gene pull has to be a secured kill. If that doesn't work out, the comp just does not work. Kawe was a bit too aggressive, I feel, at times. Used his gadget to knock back the Kenji and then died anyways. Super unfortunate, really.
I think when you're going for blind Gene pulls like that, that just mainly communicates desperation, okay? That's the last thing you want to be seeing out of a team. Yeah, yes, but also when your enemy sees that you're desperate, then they feel more confident in going for certain moves or baiting you into certain things. And I think just like on a micro-mechanical level, this was a victory also.
It's such a funny hypercharge because you most of the time don't actually want to get more than one person in the magic hand because you probably will just get traded. So you'll almost try and miss it and you favor just like the raw stats or just having, I don't even know really, it's an odd one. Still, the Gene doesn't play out, but there's still plenty of opportunities to make those kind of brawlers work.
Kind of agree with you there. Maybe the Gene hypercharge needs to be looked at once more. It's kind of like a Mendy hypercharge.
Brock, please!
But with Mendy, you actually hit 3 different people at the same time. It's super strong. Terra is going to be our first pick here. We're on double swoosh. We have a very bushy map, so you pick something with a lot of area control. Terra is also super good on gem grab because you can turn the match around. When the opponent gets snatched up by your super at the end, you can claim those gems. Sandy's going to be banned out this time around the left-hand side. Ems as well. Those 2 are usually the Terra counters because the shadows don't really do too much.
Yeah, but you can rage bait those single-shot brawlers with your help from beyond and actually use that to turn it into some map control, which I like. Tara has to probably take the safe lane because her range is so short. She's still quite powerful. Spike, though, is very good at scouting these bushes out with that vision gear.
But I'm seeing a better way to do that. Like, wouldn't you just play Gene if you want to see inside those bushes? I feel like you have a lot more vision. But yes, it should be a pretty solid way of playing the lane. And it's also like a safe pick, right? We've seen this one played earlier, and it worked like okay. I think it got the set victory. Buster. Okay, so moving on to what you play into Tara. You can see from the bans of Eternal, they just wanted the Tara first pick. Okay, it screams Tara, this one. The only thing that they're missing is the Pearl, not necessarily a Tara counter. But Buster is able to punch through all those shades. He's immune to any kind of CC once he uses his super. So that's, of course, if he's paired up with Kevlar Vest. Now, on Eternal, they pick up the Mortis and the Max. Really interesting. Is the Max just a delivery mechanism? Get that Tara her hypercharge faster?
Very quick picks here. Max probably going to be the gem carrier. She can dash out of the way. It's an uncommon one at the moment, but with Janet and Sandy banned out, who else do you go? I'm kind of waiting on the left-hand side now for Bo or Otis into that Mortis.
Nah.
This is South America. What am I even trying to do?
Hey, it's good. Nice. I love this. Also, Nita's Buffy's are kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
Because I think after she pops super super, if she has like, I mean, her Bear With Me gets empowered quite heavily by the Buffy. So
I guess she's also good replacements to Sandian M's into that help from beyond from Terra. Usually these are D-bands against Terra. They have a little bit more range. Nita's going to do just that. But Nita's not going to do too much into that Mortis. Yes, of course, she's going to get Bear eventually, but I heavily side with that right-hand side comp right now.
Interesting. I'm trying to be more of a Nita believer lately, so I guess I'll just put some blind faith in the Nita. That's a rare skin for Golden, by the way, the red-nosed Nita. But let's get a look at it. How does that Nita fare into the Mortis? It seems to be exactly what it's here to counter. Mortis going into the entire enemy team isn't going to get any kills, but it is going to get him supercharged and some hypercharge for later. Here's the matchup that Rebao wanted versus the Tara. It's exactly what this Buster was picked for. So far, so good for Olympus Squad. They've at least gotten that Bear down, but no kill on the Jubileo. He's now closer to a super.
It's not faux fur, is it? Might be the stun catcher on the Nita. Could be good. The Sonic power against the Mortis was quite nice if you can get it off. Golden with hypercharge doesn't actually opt to use it there, but still able to deploy the Bear. Jubileo's just going to dive constantly. There's Rebao with the super. Motep does not see that coming. Slow-mo replay drags the Max in, and that's a gem carrier that is gobbled down.
On the right side, Golden does have that stomp, but it's not going to stun anyone. It's just a deterrent, everyone. And on the back lines, Rebao gets the best of Mortis. He's not really able to stun that Mortis unless he does have his gadget ready. And even then, it only brings Mortis closer to you. This could be the big chain for Jubileo. There's no Bear to deter. He can go in with the super, but he doesn't have hypercharge. That is what you want at this stage of the game. Deep in enemy territory, Olympus Squad have 10 seconds that they need to survive. Jubileo sucked in, gets the heal, but it's fine. The super is here for Rebao. Olympus Squad move on to match point.
Bro, Eternal windmill slammed their composition. When they saw the Buster, they immediately picked up Mortis Max, like straight away. Like no concern whatsoever. That was super nice from